I don't have anything to say about this cover, but I can say this one thing. I'm Pickle Rick! What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today, we are going to talk about this new album from A$AP Twelvyy called 12. Now, A$AP Twelvyy obviously is a member of the A$AP mob from out of Harlem, and other than some of his appearances on Cozy Tape Volume 1, I'm not too familiar with his music. But I did get a ton of requests for this one, and I'm glad you guys put me up on it, because after listening through this a bunch of times, I think it's a pretty dope album. Right out of the gate, I love the opening song, Castle Hell. The eerie production on it just reminded me a little bit of something that would be on DMX's debut album. And that dark sound really matches up with that dark content, because Twelvyy is just going in about how he came up in a place where there was a lot of violence and also a lot of gunplay going on. You really are just introduced into his world, and you do get to know that he wasn't brought up all sweet. So this is a street album for sure, and I think he pulls off that grimy New York style and sound nicely. This whole idea of him coming up a little bit rough and tumble carries on the song Strapped, because here he has this nice bar where he says that he was a hot boy who was running with the juveniles. I just thought this was a very cool line because it obviously throws back to Cash Money Records, and it also lets you know what he was doing when he was just a young man. He was certainly involved in some criminal activity and crazy shit like that. I even remember at one point on one of these songs, he said something about throwing a gun into a river. So if you like that grimy street shit, you are definitely getting it on this project. I think Twelvyy just flows very effortlessly. He has this natural style. And adding to that overall New York theme that he has going on, you will hear from a couple of legends. He actually has RZA and Fredro Starr featured on here, just doing a couple of skits / interludes. So that was pretty interesting to me, just to see that connection between the newer New York artists and some of these older pioneers and legends. But just to be clear, he does work with some of the other newer artists as well, representing for the Beast Coast, of course. You will hear Flatbush Zombies on this track called A Glorious Death. Has a very nasty beat switch up, and they just brought their high energy and charismatic flows as usual. And then on the song Riviera, you get Joey Badass featured. On this track, he and Twelvyy are just spitting a bit about the come up and how they can now enjoy the finer things because of all the work that they put in. So I do like the theme of this track, and the production is very lavish. It actually gave me some of those exquisite Rick Ross beat type of vibes. These two tracks are quite different sonically, so Twelvyy is showing a little bit of versatility here. And I do have to mention that that last track, Riviera, is really a bit of a celebratory track, but not quite as much as LYBB. This track stands for Last Year Being Broke, but it was actually one of my least favorites because as far as the lyrics and the production, there just wasn't anything too noteworthy going on. However, I will bring up that I like the hook because he's just chanting that it's his last year being broke, so I can't hate on him for achieving his success and making it this far. As I said though, that would be one of my least favorite tracks, and another least favorite would be Yeah Yeah Yeah. I just found the drowsy production on this to be a little bit lackluster, and then you have some flows on here that are quite slow as well. So it's possible this track might grow on me, but after all the listens I've given it, I wasn't a fan of this one as of yet. And another track that I have this sort of love-hate relationship with is Eastside Ghost. I really like that sinister production, and I think A$AP Nast absolutely snapped on his verse, but then there are a couple of things on here I didn't care for. I thought that mumbly auto-crooned hook sounded pretty brutal, and A$AP An is on here just for a short verse, but it's pretty damn bad. He has this line where he says, "Your career's flipping, banana peel." That's just not a good line. I don't think I've ever seen anyone slip on a banana peel in the first place other than a clown or maybe playing a game of Mario Kart. So again, I liked a couple of things about this track, but a couple of things held it back from being a personal favorite. And it's actually the same thing with the song Hop Out. It's not all out a bad track, but it really is just your typical braggy, trappish banger with a feature from A$AP Ferg. So not too much about that one that I could praise, but it does have a bit of bang to it. It is kind of fun. But I do want to get back to the positives because there are certainly more of those. I thought the Phanogram sample on the track Diamonds worked very nicely with that atmospheric production, and you do get a pretty strong feature from A$AP Rocky on this one as well. He's actually just speaking on how he hates a lot of these new rappers in the game, and he goes as far to compare some of them to your boy Gangstalicious, who, as we all remember, was kissing with all that damn slob. So I do like that track quite a bit. It's one of my favorites. And Periodic Table is dope as well. Just has this very great string sample on it. And you're also getting some of ASAP Twelvy's best flows and rhyme schemes. So there are certainly a handful of tracks on here that I 100% fuck with. The one thing that really held this album back a little bit for me though, is that as much as I like his street narrative, and he does keep it pretty grimy with some imagery and a little bit of his story, I didn't find the lyricism to be too crazy or memorable. Again, I think he sounds good, has a very natural vocal style and flow, doesn't sound like he's forcing shit or anything like that, but I think this project would have been much better with some deeper content, just something to the lyrics to make it pop a bit more, or maybe some different vocal styles to make them pop more in that way. All that said, these are some pretty minor gripes, so, I'm not going to take off a whole bunch of points, but I am going to go with a 3.5 out of 5, which does mean it's great. It would be one of those albums that's not going to make my top 20, but it certainly would be an honorable mention. But right quick, before I forget, I got to come back to the lyrics and the content. I just wanted to say that the song Brothers actually did stick out to me more than a lot of the content on here, because it's just a very heartfelt tribute to ASAP Yams. It has this somber piano on it, and you really can feel ASAP Twelvy's pain as he speaks about how hard it was for him to lose someone who he was very close with. So hey man, this review was a little bit scattered and all over the place. It's been a long time since I got a review up because I've been so busy over the past little while. But hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I want to know what you think about this album, man. So hit me up in that comment section. Of course, you want to make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff as well. You know where all my sites are at, so show me love and show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.